Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.
Good morning. Welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right. I am John Palacio.
And I'm Marlene Cuellar. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Yeah, funny enough, you probably thought it was a Wednesday or a Friday. It is Monday, and we're glad that you could open your eyes with us. Right. As it's hot outside, we'll be taking a look at the weather coming up in just a few. That forecaster is on the line.
Yes,
right.
they are.
They're right there. So good morning. Crystal, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Excellent. So we're waiting for the good news in terms of it's going to be cool. Let's start with the general situation.
Okay, a slight increase in moisture is expected tonight.
Is that good news? I think. I think. And the 24-hour forecast?
Okay, sunny with a few cloudy spells today, becoming mostly cloudy tonight. Shower activity will be isolated today. Then a few showers and periods of rain will affect mainly inland and northern areas, spreading to the coast by morning.
All right. And tell us about the winds.
The winds will be from the east to southeast at 10 to 20 knots, and the sea conditions will be light chop.
That sounds good. And the temperatures for today and tonight, actually, it seems a little high.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit warm today. Along the coast will be 88, inland 94, and in the mountains 84. Then for tonight, 76 along the coast, 70 inland, and 64 in the hills.
All right, we'll be waiting for the days of the 70 highs. I can't wait for those days again. But let's tell us about the outlook. What should we expect for the next few days?
Okay, well, with the extended forecast for tomorrow, a few showers and periods of light rain will affect mostly coastal areas, gradually decreasing and becoming isolated. And then Wednesday is going to be mainly fair and warm. And Thursday night into Friday, we expect a few showers and periods of rain with an approaching cold front.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's not going to be consistently rainy?
Excuse me?
It's not going to be consistently rainy?
No.
All right.
Well, Crystal, we're so thankful that you shared with us the weather update for today. Thank you so very much, and stay cool.
Thank you.
All right, there we go. Now you know exactly what to expect with the weather. Like she mentioned, coming down to the weekend, we should expect some more rains, and then again, because of an approaching cool front. That's some good news.
But in between, it's still going to be hot. Keep that in mind, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's
the thing. Nonetheless, we again thank you so very much for opening your eyes on a Monday morning with us as we now take a look at the eye opener.
That's right. And our eye opener is, of course, your chance to get a bit of motivation for the day. And our eye opener is taken from dailyom.com, and it goes like this. You create better energy when you are for something rather than against something. As human beings, we cannot help but be subjected to our preferences. However, we do have control over the manner in which these manifest themselves in our lives. Every value we hold dear is an expression of either support or opposition. And it is our perspective that determines whether we are for something or against it. As an example of a situation we are all familiar with at this time, we can direct our energy and intentions into activities that promote peace rather than using our resources to speak out in opposition of war. Throughout your life, you have likely been told that the actions of one person will seldom have a measurable impact in the world. Yet, your willingness to stand up for what you believe in, instead of decrying what you oppose, can turn the tides of fate. The thoughts you project when you choose to adopt a positive perspective will provide you with a means to actively promote your values and eventually foster lasting change.
I think a lot of things when I hear this. I think politics. I think way of life at home or making decisions. I think the pandemic, Mar. And last week we did the same thing, or I said the same thing. Now you create better energy when you are for something rather than against something. Now, like coming into this, while this pandemic struck us, there were a lot of people who were hesitant about it. They were hesitant. The energy, they didn't know how to expect or what to do, what to expect. So much so that that just want to name regularly, But at this particular point, we see where we're going, and I believe that because everybody was for the country getting better at dealing with it, is where we are at this particular point, only having just about 200 active cases from so much that we had in December. So I believe indeed that as long as you create better energy when you are for something rather than against it, I really do believe in it. For other parts of the conversation, though, some folks might say, please don't tell me something because you want for me to feel good. There can be hidden energy there. But I'll stick with the pandemic in terms of how forward we're moving and the fact that everybody is for rather than against.
Yeah.
This is a great eye-opener, and there's so much to think from it.
Yeah, I like the idea of the where you're putting your energy, because think about it: the amount of time you spend protesting against something, and it is a worthwhile cause at times, versus working towards a solution. You can see where the results of the energy will be more meaningful. And I'm definitely saying, sometimes you have to protest against.
Yeah.
But if you are in a position where you can choose if you're going to build on something, I think that's always the better way to go.
Yeah.
And it's similar with the pandemic. You can keep on fighting against what needs to be done, or keep on pointing out, everybody became mask police at one time, and so you were so stuck on like looking out and being antagonistic versus kind of being proactive with your own actions, and maybe using education as a tool to help others get on board.
Yeah.
So there's so much more that can come from that approach. What's that saying with honey? You attract more flies with honey than you do with vinegar.
Than you do with vinegar, yeah.
There you go.
Indeed. But it is about, and you mentioned some very important points there. One of those being the fact that especially if you do believe in something, then and you want to protest it, then it's it's best that you do so.
Yeah.
I think that's a democratic way of our living here in our country. But at the same time, when it comes to decisions that we know that could really affect us or affect us in a positive manner, then eventually this is where we should push our energy. And you're right. Sometimes you just waste a lot of time trying to protest, especially if it's going to benefit the masses. So this is definitely one of those eye openers for a Monday that would have you thinking throughout the week. This is great.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So that is the eye opener for this morning. Of course, it is the start of the week. And there's a lot that's going on as well. Today's actually nomination day.
So while it's nomination day, put your thoughts together, and I go back to the eye opener again. Put your thoughts together and do what's best for you, do what's right for you. I think it is important when you think before you make your move. Especially for those who will be doing their nomination and trying to get things together and trying to get their party as strong as possible. So that's a good way to put it.
No, it's really going to be an interesting day. We know that the municipal elections are coming up on March 3rd, so close. And today, the nomination day, and as we saw in the general election, it's going to be very different. We were very accustomed to seeing kind of mass groups getting together, all pre-COVID. We couldn't imagine it now, right? And so one of the things I think we do have to be mindful of is that we saw on the last nomination day that there were some areas where people would still gather in groups. And we do hope that today the political parties will ensure that they can't control everybody, but just be mindful of reminding their supporters that that's not something that's encouraged, and that we can have a smooth and safe nomination day.
No,
It is separated. That's what the Elections and Boundaries Department has done. So the parties go at separate times, and there's a limit on the number of people who can attend. So we will be bringing that for you in our newscast tonight. And this is all a part of or leading up to the election day on March 3rd.
Just about 2 weeks away,
Yeah.
and you are right. At this point, I think that everybody is very savvy with social media, and so therefore, while we'll be bringing to you the nomination day, we'd like for you to cheer on as much as possible from behind your phone or behind your computer, which is, of course, the safest way for us to go. We know how we are when it comes to our political parties, the people we want to follow along with, but let's do the right thing at this time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then we spoke a bit about COVID and, you know, the latest numbers. Of course, the Ministry of Health no longer releases their daily reports on Sundays.
Yeah.
So on Monday, you get for both days. But the last report on Saturday, we saw 11 new cases. We saw 3 new recoveries. And our total active cases, as you mentioned this morning, is just a little over 200. It's 206 active cases.
Okay.
You know, by all indications, the country's doing a lot better, but we cannot let our guard down. The reason we're here is because we've been following all the protocols, we've been wearing our masks, we've been avoiding groups, we've been sanitizing as much as possible, and these things must continue. Lower number of active cases doesn't mean that we get to free up and you know, go back to bad habits. We've got to be consistent with this, especially since there's always the threat of the new variant coming into the country.
Definitely, and that's one of the scary things. I was thinking about it yesterday, and say, you know what, these are some of the questions that must be asked if those variants are around, if we're seeing it. But we're sure that the ministry is doing as much as possible to detect if there is any in our country, but more so for the people, so people could understand that once we continue to adhere to the social distancing or the protocols set into us by the authorities, then we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, and I think that it coupled with the reduction in cases, we know that on Friday, the Prime Minister spoke of getting access to 1,000 vaccines from Barbados. Prime Minister May Motley has offered that to Belize. They have to find a way to get it there. And we are just about a month or so away around that time where we should see the first batch of the COVAX, the vaccines through the COVAX facilities coming in. So we're getting closer. We're not there yet, you know.
Yeah.
It's still a time that we have to keep on being as strict as possible with our own personal protective care and our own family plan. And then we can be able to start to see some changes, hopefully by the end of the year. So things are looking promising, but we must consider that until the time comes when we have enough people vaccinated in the country, we will continue with all these protocols until then. The variant issue, I know we were told several weeks ago that we were going to get the results as to find out whether or not there is the variant in Belize. We still have not gotten a response from the Ministry of Health or an update from the Ministry of Health on that as yet. But that is something that I believe we should be hearing, I would imagine be hearing soon, to know for sure whether or not these new variants, and there are multiple variants, but specifically the UK, the South African, the Brazilian, whether they are in country.
Oh, definitely. I'm so thankful for sister countries or neighboring countries' relationships, and having one country donating that 1,000 to us here in our country, who will be getting those first, what we'll be doing. So all of these things will eventually be coming up sometime in the week. And of course, we invite for you to stay tuned to Channel 5 as we continue to break this down for you and much more. That is what we do.
Yeah.
On 5.
And of course, you know, we're talking about COVID, we're talking about nomination day, but the biggest story for today is that the Commission of Inquiry gets started on the sale of assets, the sale of government assets, and that's for a specific time period. We know that the government instituted a 3-member panel that would head up this investigation to see whether there were any criminal wrongdoing, see if there were any deviation from procedures that took place when these assets were in fact sold for what seems to be extremely or, you know, unfairly low prices.
Yeah.
So the There are several people who've been called to come before the commission, but of course the most prominent name that we're hearing of is the former Prime Minister, Dean Barrow, and he is scheduled to appear this morning. It is going to be live. You will be able to see it on Facebook. So it is an interesting day ahead.
It is going to be. As a matter of fact, when the former Prime Minister's name was called up, it created a flurry on social media as to why he should be there. But he was the head when it comes to the finance for the country, and so therefore his name was called up. I think as well to be called up will be Roberto Vicente.
That's right.
And also Joseph Witt.
That's right.
These are the three names that we've been hearing so far that will be called up for today as they kickstart that inquiry today.
All right. So that starts at 9 this morning, and we're going to bring you all the highlights as to what took place and any information that is revealed. It is yet to be seen. We have not heard whether or not he will in fact attend, but we know that he has been summoned in addition to the others that you just mentioned.
That's right. So while you just started with us, once again, welcome. It is a beautiful Monday morning out here in our country, and we're getting things started right here on Open Your Eyes. We'll be kick-starting the morning off with you. We've got some great conversations. As a matter of fact, conversation 1 and 2, segments 1 and 2, will surround a conversation with Belize Diaspora Foundation on perspective on Belize's COVID-19 situation. So once again, that's going to be for first and rolling over to the second segment as well.
All right. And then we're going to get an update from the sugar industry, but this time we're going to be hearing from Santander. They recently started their harvest, and they have some updates as to how it's been going, and of course some of the challenges that lie ahead, especially in being able to get access to markets. So that's going to be your final conversation for this morning.
That's right. If it is your birthday today, we'd like to wish you happy birthday. But we'll take that break now, and when we come back, we'll be jumping directly into the show and having that conversation with Belize Diaspora Foundation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It's a fact that you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
As one of the largest cable and internet providers in Belize, CBC strives to provide our customers with the highest standards of quality, value, and service in all aspects of cable TV and internet. Monitoring our systems closely, our technicians combine creative planning and state-of-the-art technology with years of experience and training to develop and provide the most reliable and advanced cable and internet service to exceed your expectations. For CBC and our team of talented engineers, technicians, and customer service representatives, delivering less than the very best is never an option.
In these challenging times, the one thing that is certain is that the Belize Bank Limited is here for you. There is nothing more important than your health and safety, and we continue to make every effort to make banking safer for you. Our staff is working around the clock to make sure you can do your banking conveniently 24/7 using our mobile banking app and online banking and keeping ATMs up and running. We value your relationship with us and are here to provide the support you need. First responders are also out there 24/7. Thank you, healthcare workers, security forces, firefighters, caregivers. You are all appreciated. Stay safe. We will get through this together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
Today's COVID update is brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes, and we're now moving into our first segment for the morning. This one is a conversation with reps of the Belize Diaspora Foundation. It's going to be on their perspective on Belize's COVID situation. Now, we know how tough it was when we got word that Belize had contracted its first case. In with us this morning to chit-chat about these things are Dr. Egbert Greenwich, who is a pediatrician, and Dr. Anna Lizama, OBGYN, family medicine, public health research, principal investigator. Yeah. Wow, whew, I have to take a deep breath when I said that one. But guys, good morning and welcome.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having us.
It's so nice to have you in, Dr. Greenwich. Man, we haven't seen you in a while. You were one of Belize's most famous. Everybody, we're going to Dr. Greenwich with the baby name.
Stop that.
But guys, so, tough times, I could tell you that much, and we could tell you that much. And when learning about this coronavirus and what had happened, especially out in the world, and so afraid that we would get it, then, bam, it hit home. It was devastating to us. It was a devastating thought. We didn't know what to do, how to do. You guys live out there in the U.S. What was the mindset when you heard about it, especially being right here at home? Tell us, what was your thought? Dr. Greenwich, let's start with you.
Well, good morning. Is it Isani? I think, what's your first name?
No, it's John. It's John.
Yeah.
Okay, John and Marlene and the rest of Belize, good morning. I feel like I'm on a trip back home. It feels great. I wish we had met under happier circumstances. We went through various moods in the U.S. I personally, for me, it peaked that weekend when, sorry to bring it up again, when the two twin doctors died, the fellow physicians and the minister per se. And I also lost a family friend to the coronavirus, a guy that I used to hang with in Belize. And so, like everything else, we human beings, we take things very seriously the closer it comes to home. Yeah. And I think shortly after that, some of my friends, people that I had grown up with in Belmopan, two ladies that live in the States, a doctor that lives in the States, and I met the great Anna Lizama for the first time. I had heard of her through Dr. Stuart Grant, who is a good friend of mine. And we got together. So your mood goes from severe sadness and crying. I think a lot of Belizeans admitted to me that they cried. And then hope in discussing the situation with others. We found hope. When we found someone willing to help us to help the situation, we got elated. And then disappointed when that person pulled out. And then hope again in that we found that we have a project that we will enlighten you on shortly that we found that we could probably work on to help the situation. So it's a varying mood. Right now, we feel a lot encouraged by the fact that things have improved, So lots of moods. We went through a lot of feelings and moods. But right now, it's mostly hope and the fact that we feel great that Belize is pulling through this, okay?
Yeah. So, Dr. Lizama, tell us a bit about how the foundation got started.
Okay. Well, we are part of a loosely organized group that is in the beginning phase of registering as the Belize Diaspora Foundation. We're trying to register as a nonprofit with a U.S. Belizean lawyer so that people can safely donate and volunteer. The initial group involves Belizean doctors, activists, scientists living abroad who we saw how COVID has impacted the world and how it's impacted Belize. And as the pandemic spread in Belize, we went through all those emotions that Dr. Greenwich was talking about. But we have hope that things can change. I shared my despair on Facebook and got an overwhelming response from Belizeans who had the same thoughts and who wanted to help.
Yeah.
A group of us, including Dr. Greenwich, got together and we decided we wanted to focus on the vaccine distribution and creating a directory of doctors and other professionals who could help Belize in this crisis and in other crises coming down the road, or just in regular circumstances. We want to help with vaccine procurement when we're organized. And we've spoken to Dr. Beer, so we hope we can work with the Ministry of Health to help get this vaccine rollout on the way.
You did mention when we're organized. So how long have the group been in dialogue to try and get some help through?
We started meeting probably, about a month ago, 2 months ago?
No, we met around the time, remember the twins died, when was that? That was around Christmas.
Was it Christmas?
Around, just before between the election and Christmas, we met after the surge, the start of that surge. So I would say about almost 3 months now, Anna, 2.5 months, 2 months, 3 months, yeah.
You know what's interesting, I think, about this group is that we talk very often about the diaspora and the professionals that we have living in different parts of not just the United States, but all over the world. And there are a lot of esteemed medical professionals, especially, that are working in the United States. I saw you had a list of maybe about 6 or 7. Very sure there are more than that, right?
Yes. One of the goals of the Belize diaspora, Marlene, is we want to use this as a segue, if you will, to tap into all those other Belizean professionals out there. We are certainly not representative of the larger group out there, and we hope that this disaster, or if you want to call it this worldwide pandemic, will help us to bond together so that when it might be the pandemic today, it might be a hurricane tomorrow. You know, we can all, you know, help. We can tap into this directory and get resources like human resources, financial resources, other resources to assist the country that gave us our start. We are united by our love for Belize and the fact that we want to see Belize return to its lifestyle and the way of life that our people are used to.
Yeah. You know, our latest COVID numbers, we were talking about it this morning, we're just about 200 active cases, and it is one of those things that you feel cautiously optimistic. It looks good, but we pay attention to what's happening in the rest of the world as they're battling their third wave, and we just wonder. I mean, you know, I think the pessimists especially would be, you know, the doom and gloom is coming. What are your thoughts, given the experience that you're having over there?
Well, I really think that, you know, Belize is set. We are a small country. We're talking about less than 420,000 people. So there's really no reason why we cannot put a break on this pandemic by mass vaccination, by getting or herd immunity, 70 to 80% of the people of Belize vaccinated, and actually requiring that people who come into the country after that be vaccinated and be monitored. So I really think that looking at what's happening in the United States, Belize is a small segment, a very tiny segment. We can get this pandemic under control through vaccination.
Yeah. And for you, Dr. Greenidge, what are some of your observations?
Well, you know, it's no secret that where we live, it's not been optimally managed, but you know, our earlier fear for the demise of our way of life has been replaced by hope. And we think that, like you just said, we're optimistic about the latest situation, this latest state status report. But we think that the icing on the cake, and you notice that we have spoken mostly about vaccine. We know that a lot of public health measures and other things like curfew have been put in place. We are aware of the economic impacts that these have if you keep repeating them, and that surges will have, you know, they will occur. So we think that the vaccine is the way to go, and we rely on other groups to supply things like supplies that they need and so on and so forth. But we think the vaccine, along with the public health measures, is the way to go. And we are, like Anna said, we have a small size. It's my personal opinion that this is doable. I think it should have been done already, but I am not, I am just a voice in the darkness. And I think we are optimistic that since we can't help procure vaccines at this point, that our best bet is to help with the human resource, getting the vaccine rolled out, if you will, or disseminated or distributed.
Dr. Greenidge, you worked, when you worked in Belize, you worked at the KHMH, and so you understand the situation on the ground there. How concerned were you when you started to see those surges and knew that the number of people who were going to be hospitalized would only grow?
Yes, I had more than the other members of the group, and I always tell them this, and I have to remind them that I am not trying to talk down to them. For, if you will, I am the voice of truth in the group, in that, I just left Belize relatively a short while ago. I mean, I don't even mind telling you, I'm still more Belizean. I am more Belizean in my mindset than anything else. I am not really there. Most of them have been in the U.S. over 20 years.
Wow.
I think Anna has been there 45 years. So when it came to planning and everything, I was able to say, listen, Belize can do a lot of things very well, and I understand what's going on. But I think if we want to have the highest impact, we should help in trying to get this vaccine rolled out. But we were very, very, very moved by the figures and the stories of the medical corps being overworked, being depleted by illness, and also if you notice, an aspect of this rollout is the first people in any country that will receive these vaccines in Belize as in elsewhere are the frontline health workers. So this will come to give them a buffer, if you will, between their bodies and this epidemic. So it's very important to get this vaccine rolled out to protect our workers. My wife said to put in a plug, not only for the medical doctors and the nurses and what have you, but she said, put in a plug for the ordinary people. Because we have a friend who is like, the people that move the trolleys and so on, and dispose of the medical waste. So my wife said, Egbert, I know you're going on this show this morning. Put in a plug that those people that take care of the waste also receive the vaccine. I said, I don't know, I'll put it in. There was a story out of New York early in the phases of the epidemic that many minority workers who work, in the bowels of these large hospitals lost their lives because they were not protected adequately. They were not given the proper masks, the proper gloves. So now that this vaccine is coming around, I say shout out to the unheard workers, the ones behind the scenes, not only the doctors and the nurses, but those who clean the waste, change the beds, push the trolleys. They are exposed perhaps even more because the medical waste contains a large amount of the virus. As you know, it can live on inanimate surfaces for days. That's why we encourage people to wipe surfaces. So, this is they are very important too. So plug out for them.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah,
You're
true.
right. When you think of the team of healthcare workers that are involved in care and treatment. So let's talk about how you envision being able to assist in the procurement of vaccines.
Anna? Well, the procurement, Belize government has to be the one. The Minister of Health and the government of Belize are the ones who are going to procure the vaccines. They will not sell to private entities or anything like that. So we are willing to help them with trying to get funding, whatever it might take to get the vaccines as we need to. On the other hand, we can be a big resource for human resources. We form a registry of nurses and logistical workers, like who can help us with waste management and stuff like that. We're going to get a directory of that and try to help them get credentials so that when the vaccine becomes available in Belize, we can go down and actually help. All our people who are coming down as volunteers are in the process of getting their own vaccines, and so they will be hopefully protected and not be able to spread anything themselves. And once we get that, then we can actually come up with a scheduling where we can go down and actually disseminate people to different villages. Dr. Bear tells us that she needs extra help in each village or each district to give the vaccine once it becomes available. So we can do that. And we are also thinking of working with nonprofits like the Belize Association of Central Florida to help us raise funds for these projects ongoing.
I've got a lot of Belizean friends who live in the U.S. and they're actually RNs, and we speak a lot in terms of how we could be of maximum help, because we know where we want to go. We want to get rid of this virus. But if they would want to be a part of this group, how can they be a part of the Belize Diaspora Foundation?
Well, we're going to have a way that they can get in touch with me either on Facebook Messenger or through my email. I need their information, email, phone number, and we'll work with them to get their credentialing done through the Ministry of Health in Belize. So they will need to be sending me their licenses and maybe a short CV so that we can get them in the system. And hopefully we can create a schedule so that when the rollout comes out, we can disperse people to the different districts. Hopefully in the districts where they came from or are interested in.
That's I think that is something. Clearly, you've had conversations with representatives of Ministry of Health. You speak of Dr. Beer. She's on, I believe, the technical working group for the vaccine rollout, and very critical role in the Ministry of Health. Talk to me about some of the other areas that you've explored. So getting trained persons to come down to Belize who are already vaccinated to go into rural areas and administer vaccines. So that means you won't have to shift around people from clinics or from the larger municipalities into villages, and you can have qualified persons still distributing or providing the vaccine. What other areas have you explored?
Well, they always say don't promise what you can't deliver, but what I want to tell you something. So I want to go back to what Anna had said. If you could switch to that slide that says creating herd immunity. We had talked about procuring vaccines, Marlene, but as you know, that's quite a $1 million effort, and we are just in our infancy of organizing and registering. So we have to focus. When we had 2 meetings with the ministry, and on the second meeting, Dr. Baird, she was the one that led us to this idea of helping out with the human resource. Something of this magnitude has never been done in Belize. I mean, at one time, to try and job people, over 100,000 people, if you will. So Belize is optimally placed to achieve herd immunity. 55% of our population is over 16 years. That's about 220,000 people. Right now, the vaccines have been studied mainly in people greater than 16 years old. Studies are just starting between 8 and 16. To quote the recent report to the House by the Minister of Health, as you know, we have 215 to 220,000 doses promised. That's enough to vaccinate at one time about a half of the population at once, or 1/3 if they get the 2 cycles of the vaccine. The vaccine that they're using too is a great one. If you were to go to that slide with how some of the COVID-19 vaccines compare, you'll see that the AstraZeneca one that we are getting is cheap, affordable, sorry is a better word.
Yes.
For the sensitive minded.
Yeah.
And it stores well. It stores at regular fridge temperature, and the effectiveness is quite acceptable at 62 to 90%. Okay. Why get a Moderna or a Pfizer, which would probably, in our hot temperatures, probably spoil, to use a layman's term. Yeah. Also, I heard or I read also from Anna. She sent me a copy of the minister's presentation to the House, that we got some of the Sputnik. Heralded Sputnik ones. Yeah. And they're also in a more affordable range, and they also store well. So getting the vaccine out is our main area that we want to help. And later on, when we get our act together, we will try to help with funding supplies and buying more vaccines so that we can help our country to reach herd immunity, if you will. That's our plan. That's what we promise and probably can deliver as we speak today.
Sorry. This is such a critical point that I want us to really dive in deeper to it. And Dr. Lizama, of course, we want you to be a part of it. Belize is looking at the possibility at this time of two of the vaccines, the AstraZeneca, most likely through COVAX, and we've heard of a commitment for the Sputnik. So we have everyone, not just the Belizean public, everyone all over the world kind of watching these stories about vaccines from international sources, and you hear things like 60% or 70% versus 90%, and just naturally we think, oh, the other one is better. So there is some skepticism there about looking at the efficiency or the effectiveness of the vaccines. But put it into perspective for us. You said that AstraZeneca its results show that it's a very effective vaccine. How do you describe that to someone who perhaps has never paid attention to the difference between effectiveness in vaccines? A flu vaccine, for example, oftentimes it's 50% around that, right?
Listen, go ahead, Anna. Yeah.
Well, the AstraZeneca vaccine is supposed to be 70% effective against active infection and symptomatic infection. And the Sputnik 5 is about 91.4% effective. And both of them are 100% effective in stopping disease and hospitalization and death. Yeah. So at this point, these vaccines have very, very good effects. Yeah.
And the Sputnik, for example, because we don't hear about it, especially from U.S. media, which most of us would watch, it was actually, I think there was a recent medical journal, a very respected medical journal, that spoke about the effectiveness based on the investigations that they did, the Lancet Journal. Yeah. Tell us about that, what we know about the Sputnik.
Well, both of them are vector-based, so they use not live, it's not really live vaccine, but it's actually vectors like the common cold vector. They use that to create immunity and have your immune system fight against the new COVID virus. So the Sputnik 5 is actually they've gone through phase 3 studies as well as AstraZeneca, and they have very good results.
Yeah. And now looking at it from the rollout perspective, Dr. Greenidge, nobody knows vaccination more than pediatricians. And Belize has actually, and it's one of the things we should be proud of, we've always had a very consistently high vaccination schedule. In other words, people in Belize are very accepting of giving their children the vaccines as they're supposed to. But yet, I think that there's a little, not so overwhelming, but there are some skeptics or people who are concerned about the newness of the vaccine, about what they feel is a very fast development process. Tell me, your thoughts on what you think would be as helpful in getting people to understand the value of being vaccinated.
Okay, so when you examine what the ministry actually has at its disposal, they have a very detailed plan to cover all of these exigencies, even vaccine-related adverse effects if they occur. And they have a public relations campaign in mind, not only to educate people, but to also explain away the side effects, if you will, once your immune system gets the shot and it reacts to it. People will want to know, well, why is this happening to me, as as has happened with the American public and the UK public and the other countries that have been so lucky to get the vaccine already. So there's a detailed plan in place to deal with all these exigencies, Marlene. So it would be presumptuous of us to assume that we could just come in and talk away people's fears. No, I am a kind of brusque guy, and I would like to say that, I wanted to say this morning that we really have no choice but to take this vaccine if we want to get back to our way of life, if we want to get back to having a booming economy, because everyone knows, from the panadist man in the street to the executive in his office who is seeing dwindling numbers in terms of financial gain, that this economy, this type of economy that this COVID has caused, and the lifestyle on it, that it has imposed, change that it has imposed, and the people cannot continue. So the vaccine is like, I don't know, I would like to say that it kind of backs us into a corner, because it's like war by this virus and our countries. So we have to kind of be accepting of this vaccine. My mother, who is 83 years old, she had questions about it, but she was cooped up in a house in California from June of last year. And she likes to take her car ride, and she likes to meet her grandkids. I mean, right now in Belize, there are people that are not even seeing their grandkids, older people, because they're at more risk, and the grandkids can't come to see them because they might look healthy, but they might be carrying the virus. So if we want to return to our normal way of life, I'm afraid that the vaccine is the answer. So we may have fears, and these will be addressed by the framework that the Ministry of Health in Belize has in place. But really, to be honest, I would like to say this: we have no choice but to take this vaccine. If our old people want to come out, if our healthcare workers don't want to feel at risk, if we won't have to want to shut her up every time there's a holiday like Easter coming up in a few months and so on. We don't want to shut up. We want to go out and enjoy the sun. The vaccine is the way out from the darkness. Okay? That's a quick and dirty explanation.
Talking about side effects, all vaccines will give you some kind of side effect. Just like medications, just like herbal medicines, you're going to have some kind of side effect. And the side effect of these vaccines so far have been pain or soreness at the injection site. I had mine. I had my second one, my second dose of the Moderna vaccine last week, and I had a very sore left arm after the vaccination for like 2 days, but that was all I had. Other symptoms are like mild flu-like symptoms, like low-grade fever and body aches, but it usually goes away pretty quickly. I don't think, and the virus, people need to know that the vaccine will not give you COVID-19. It does not incorporate into your DNA. It does not cause any long-term effects. So
I want us to talk a bit more about your vaccination process and some of the things there, but we're going to take a very quick break and get to some commercials in, and when we come back, we'll talk about the experience that you both had getting vaccinated and some of the things that you still have to continue to do even though you've been vaccinated. So that's coming up after the break.
Mask up. Always mask up and social distance.
All right.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Caused intense flooding overnight in the western and southern parts of the country.
Yeah?
Do we need to renew the insurance policy?
The insurance policy?
Were impassable.
Oh, let me check.
Renew your policies, file a claim, and even send us a message using RFNG Online.
No, we're good. It says we're covered.
Okay, great.
It pays to get it right with RFNG Insurance, a Road Group company.
Why, Tony?
Why, kid, what you going on, man?
We actually come see we can need to buy a stack of them plastic plates and cups for my grocery shop because I run low.
Boy, I stopped importing that thing since April 15th, you know. And I just ran out to the last batch, must be about like 3 weeks back, you know.
Man, do I usually have anything? What are you going?
Check this, right? Under the new law, we ban all single-use plastics, so that the cups, plates, forks, spoons, and knives, all of that. Since April 15th, can't import none of them. Starting January 15, 2021, you can't manufacture them. April 15, 2021, you can't sell them. And after July 14, 2021, if you get catch with any other thing, you will get fined.
Me never know this. I guess I have to make some changes then. I have to make the customers know that anything not available. Anyways, bro. Thanks, man.
No problem, man. Take care.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
And we're back. We are back. Welcome to back to Open Your Eyes. We continue with our conversation with Belize Diaspora Foundation. We've got, with the continued conversation, Dr. Egbert Greenwich, pediatrician, and Dr. Anna Lizama, OBGYN, family medicine, public health research principal investigator. Guys, the conversation continues. And Marlene was right on that in terms of asking you about your feel with the vaccine. Dr. Lizama, you took your vaccine, and we actually saw a picture there of Dr. Greenwich with, him taking his vaccine.
So John is scared of needles, so that one spooked him a bit.
Not the J-O-B, but the J-A-B.
Getting the jab.
All right, so let's talk about how the rollout happened in your areas. Yeah. You know, was it just all medical professionals? Was it frontline first and the rest of healthcare workers? Let's go through that.
Well, they started with frontline workers and essential workers, like for mostly affected by the COVID-19 virus. And then they went to people over 65 years and older. But at this point, they're also considering school teachers.
Yeah.
It's going to be a rollout very gradually. The Ministry of Health will actually put out there who goes in what on a priority list.
Yeah.
Okay? So many Belizeans have natural immunity. All of us feel like, oh, we're Belizeans, so we have natural immunity to everything, all the viruses and everything, right? But the COVID-19 virus is a new or novel. That's what novel means, viral exposure. And the vaccines will promote our immune system to fight off the virus. So the AstraZeneca, I was explaining to you about the AstraZeneca virus and Sputnik 5, so they actually will create a response using harmless, weakened a vector, like the common cold vector, who delivers a code to the SARS-CoV-2 virus, COVID-2 spike protein. And these proteins make copies our cells make copies of that protein and promote our body's immune system to make B lymphocytes and T lymphocytes, which can fight against the virus. You need to have at least 2 doses, so you get your immunity about 2 to 3 weeks after the second dose. Okay? So the platform for developing these viruses have been in existence for over a decade. This is not a new thing. Vaccines are something that the world has used throughout history, and we've eliminated a lot of and gotten control of a lot of other viruses because of vaccines. Okay, so the researchers were then able to identify the viral genomic characteristics and start working on a vaccine early in 2020. So the reason for it's true that the market has approved these viruses for emergency use, but they have completed phase 3 clinical trials, which usually means they've enrolled and used these vaccines on 20 to 40,000 people before they can say that and have recorded over like months and what the side effects are. So the vaccines have been thoroughly scrutinized by leading scientific bodies and have been and followed very stringent regulations. So it's not like this is something that was rushed. This has been in the works for a long time.
And there were several things that were different about the development of these vaccines that kind of made it faster. One was, I think you mentioned it earlier, the code, the genomic code of, in other words, kind of like the makeup of the virus. It was known very early on. That was one of the first things that helped.
Yes. I mean, and the scientists were on this like right away. So this is not something that just started, like say, in the last few months. Initially, this COVID virus was considered to be just a respiratory infection, but we now know that there are ACE2 receptors present in many organ systems, including heart, bladder, prostate, intestine, the brain. And so it's actually a systemic disease. And there are people, you've heard of the long haulers, people who they recovered from the infection go on to have like chronic diseases like clotting problems, kidney failure, heart disease. So this is not anything to play with at all. So why expose someone to an acute disease and to become a COVID-19 long hauler when it can be prevented with a vaccine? All vaccines have side effects. All medications have side effects. Herbal medicines have side effects. So, and the ones for this vaccine, it's not, they're very minimal. The reactions you're getting, the side effects that you're getting is actually your immune system. It's showing how your immune system is responding and actually becoming able to fight against the virus.
So let's talk about your vaccine experience. You both got the Moderna?
Yeah,
I got
and I am the I'm the lead boy in the team. Shouldn't say that. That's wrong. I don't mind telling people I'm an honest guy. I'm one of those high-risk guys, Marlene. So I always knew, given my family genetics, that this virus had my name on it.
Wow.
I got the virus back in, let me see, May 31st. I remember I went to pick up some paint somewhere because I was selling my house. And I painted the deck. And that night, I felt flu-like. I immediately called in and said, guys, I'm not coming in today. I'm going to get a PCR test. So I did a drive-by PCR test, and sure enough, I had the virus. I had a warm time with that virus. Hold on, stick a pin. Before catching the virus, I made sure my numbers were great. I made sure my blood pressure was great. I made sure my metabolism, my sugar and everything was great. I went to the gym 3 times a day. And I don't know, I know we are on different Facebook pages, but I also spread that message to people all the time.
Yeah.
I said, the studies are showing that people that look like me and the Hispanic people are at risk, and these are the people that are dying. So I was very frightened of catching the virus. So I got the virus. I needed a little extra help to get over the virus. And when I got the first shot, I was a little afraid that, but it went well. I was a little shaky, but
wait, you're rushing past one of the stories we want to hear. How badly did the virus affect you?
Yeah. You said you had a warm time with it.
Okay, so that was an experience. I could have dwelled on that. So the first 10 days, my wife caught it at the same time, and the 2 of us, we changed our bedroom was changed to like a hospital room, a ward. And the kids brought food to the door. We had me, my wife, we had a niece there. Our daughter had come up to have two twins that were, I think they had gotten a little bigger by then because they were born in January. So they were home. And then I had my 2 sons. So we were all, they had a term for that, where you're all, you're in a closed up unit and you know who you're with.
Yeah.
So we were all together in this house in Minnesota, in Worthington, Minnesota. So they took care of us. We do our vitals every 4 hours. We did temperature, we did blood pressure, check my sugar, check my oxygen. And my wife, she had fever, but my fever refused to go. So on day 10, I'm an aggressive guy. So on day 10, I said, guess what? This fever is not going to go away. I need to be seen. So I think I got seen. Did I get seen? I can't remember the story, but we had these portable pulse oximeters. And I think I became air hungry, and I couldn't breathe properly. I got like a stat of less than 90%. Wow. Anyway, I went to the emergency room and I told them, hey, I need some oxygen. They gave me oxygen, and then I asked to be transferred to the bigger hospital, and then I was given steroids and I got better. Oh. But it took like a couple visits before I got better. Yeah. One of the things about the COVID virus is that people tell you to call the hospital. But if you call, there's always these phones that people don't answer. I just went and I parked myself there and said, I need to be seen. Yeah. And I got seen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got better with steroids, and the guy told me I remember I saw one doctor and then I saw another one. He said, listen, you're going to be fine. Medicine is half your mentality. Once that hospitalist told me I was going to be fine, I felt a whole lot better from his words. Yeah. I think patients want to hear that they're going to be fine. Yeah. So it was an experience. I wasn't the straightforward, no symptoms type of person. I had shortness of breath and I had low oxygen for a few hours, and then I got better with steroids. So, you know.
But you did take the vaccine, and have you suffered any side effects?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the first one, I was felt broken up, I had a flu-like response. And one of the guys in my group, Dr. Hyde, he had said, if you feel kind of messed up after the first dose, that's just your immune system. You just have a very active immune system. So I said, I have a very active immune system. I'm just going to take some Tylenol and I should start feeling better. And so said, so done.
Yeah.
And then when I got the second one, luckily that was on a Friday evening. And so I was able to stay in bed this Saturday and Sunday. So I don't know I don't think it affected me as much as the first jab.
Yeah.
I think I did better with the second dose. But most of the literature says that the second jab, your immune system was kind of, was introduced to the virus with the first jab. So the second jab is supposed to be the worst one. But for me, the second jab was better than the first jab.
Interesting. Yeah. But,
so I did better.
I'm sure people are at home thinking, well, why would you get vaccinated if you already had it?
Well, I read about that today, and apparently, they think that the immunity you get from the natural
exposure
process, if you will, from going through what I went through is a horrible experience, because you feel like you're gonna die, and you're having fever every day. Every 4 hours that fever would come around, and I was on 1 gram of Tylenol every 4 hours. I don't want to put anybody through that. I think Sweden tried that, and I was curious, so I researched it last night. Sweden abandoned the natural approach to herd immunity, and they started doing like everybody else and locking down universities and schools. So we don't want the natural approach. I don't want anybody to go through what I went through, and I didn't want my mother, who is over 80. I don't want anybody over 55, because the average person doesn't know what I know. So they will not prepare their bodies for this disease. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to have to go through natural herd immunity. This whole talk today is about encouraging people to go get your jab, so that you go through, your immune system is told through this vaccine to strengthen up, so that when the COVID comes around, you don't get it, or you get a less severe course. I think Anna didn't really stress that too much, or she did. If you take the vaccine, even if you get sick, and the Israelis are seeing this, there's a 94% decrease already after weeks of giving the vaccine in their militaristic way. They're seeing a 94% decrease in hospitalizations and deaths. So we need to mimic that model, because we are smaller than even Israel, which is a very small country. We have less of a population. So we are the perfect, we are the perfect country to give this vaccine to. I think the people that will argue with this vaccine, from what I have seen, TV hosts, are those people to whom it won't mean a lot. Maybe people in their 16 years and 20 years who probably are naturally strong. But people over 55 who know they're obese, who have type 2 diabetes, hypertension, or elderly people sitting at homes who want to embrace their grandchildren are going to jump at this vaccine and take it, because they want a return to the normal way of life.
Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing your experience there. Dr. Lizama, let's move over to you to talk about that as well. It's really important that we know that even people who have been exposed to the virus may need to get vaccinated as well, because what we do know at this point is that there is the possibility of reinfection. So you still have to get vaccinated. But let's talk about your vaccination experience.
Well, I have been very fortunate in that I have not contracted COVID-19, but I have been using all the different public health precautions. I got my first vaccine the end of December, and because of all the scheduling difficulties up here, it was almost 6-7 weeks before I got the second vaccine. But my only side effect was the soreness in my arm. I didn't get any fever or anything like that. Now, one of the things to point out is that the AstraZeneca vaccine that we're supposed to get with COVAX has something like a 64% rate of decreasing actual transmission. But the AstraZeneca vaccine has been the only one that has been studied long enough for them to say that. So they actually, the research participants, what they did, they swapped them down the road and to see if they were actually carrying any of the virus in their system, and there were so many of them were not. So that's a very good sign.
Yeah.
That, you can actually.
There was also something astonishing about that AstraZeneca too, Anna, that when they gave less than optimal dosage, there was an actual paradoxical increase in the efficacy of the vaccine, and they're studying
so
that.
It's like a full dose of 1.5 dose of the second. So they're actually, all this is very fluid. They're still doing a lot of different ways of giving the vaccine to see where you can get the best effectiveness. And down the road, I'm sure we're going to need boosters to cover like the viral strains that are coming up.
Yeah.
And just like the flu vaccine, we probably will have to get, COVID-19 is here to stay. It's not going to go away in the next year or so. We're going to have to get vaccinated against this every year like we do with the common flu.
Yeah. Now, when you do get vaccinated, let's start from the first dose. Nothing changes as to what you have to do to protect yourself, right?
Nothing changes, but you still have to continue wearing your mask, social distancing, because you can still, even though you got that vaccine, you can still be carrying virus in your nostrils and you can transmit it to others.
Yeah.
So you wear masks, you social distance, you do all those things, not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Yeah.
You know,
I think the latest thing with the CDC after the vaccine, Marlene, and you know, everybody has become a COVID expert. I mean, I think every day, most people in the world who can read something about COVID, you kind of have to, because it jumps out on your phone at you. So you know that the CDC, I think was last week, said that if we who have gotten our 2 doses, if we come in contact with somebody that's sick, we don't necessarily have to quarantine, you know, if we don't have any symptoms. So that's one of the first advantages about having the vaccine. But as far as discontinuing wearing PPE and mask and so on, no, that advantage has not been conferred on us as yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you ask a question about the stages of giving the vaccine as it applies to Belize?
Well, we have been told some of the information, but we know that it's going to be starting with healthcare workers.
Okay, then.
There's an interesting thing, you know, that when we get the vaccine, and I think you were mentioning it before, there's going through whether you meet the criteria, administering, and then also monitoring for immediate side effects and long-term side effects, right? Can you explain that? Because you've met with the ministry, so you know the process.
Well, it's a detailed book that they have, a detailed explanation of all this. Needless to say, I think it was all, I don't want to say borrowed. I think WHO, you know, the leadership organization, disseminates this material and it tells you how to set up vaccine reporting on adverse events. So I would say Belize is not planning to skip any of the stages. They're going to ask you the pre-vaccine questions, meaning, are you having any current COVID symptoms? They're going to give you, they're going to ask you if you have allergies. As you know, the Moderna is the one that's associated with less allergies, 1 per million shots, and the Pfizer, which we're not going to have in Belize, gives you 5 per million shots. So they ask you, do you have a history of allergic reactions? They're going to ask all of that, and then after you get the job, they're going to give you a card. Of course, they're going to electronically record this, because if they're like me, when I came from my second shot, I had lost the card.
Oh my
Luckily, I'd taken a shot of it with my phone.
Yeah.
But they're going to use the BHIS system, which we're lucky to have. That was rolled out, I think, when I was in Belize back in the 1990s. Luckily, we have an electronic medical record. And are you aware that Belize has an electronic medical record?
Of course. Of course.
Huh?
She's up to date, yes.
No. Because in our meetings, guys, don't laugh.
Yeah.
I'm the one that has to remind these guys that, hey, don't be like most people who come to Belize and think that we can't do anything to help ourselves.
Yeah.
We have a BHIS. Hold on. I'm not talking down to you. We have a BHIS, so we're going to record everything when you get your first shot, when you get your second shot. If you had any side effects, we're going to record that. And they also have a vaccine adverse effect recording system, and they're going to have a phone line you can call in.
Yeah.
If you have anything beyond the pale, beyond the aches and pains and the fever and what have you, you can report those kinds of things. I think people, Marlene, I think people have to realize, this is the only thing I disagree with. Yes, this was all ramped up very quickly. Yes, but no shortcut was taken to assure that these vaccines were safe for putting in humans. They were put in preclinical phase, then they were put in animals, then they were put in humans in phase 2 and phase 3 trials. So no step was missed. So the vaccines are very safe. People are put off by 1 in a million stories about this person dying after a shot or getting the illness after a shot, as if they're trying to pick at the virus per se. Pick at the vaccines per se. But none of those arguments is strong enough to say that someone who is greater than 65 or greater than 55 with at-risk factors should not get this vaccine, nor should it dissuade any government from wanting to immunize up to 80 to 90% of their country so that herd immunity is simulated and we can return to a way of life. There's no argument large enough so far.
And I don't think anyone wants to argue about how quickly we want to get back to our way of life. But before we completely run out of time, I do want to get a chance, Dr. Lizama. I know that, as you mentioned earlier, the group is new, and you're working with the people within your network, but there are many more Belizean healthcare professionals who will want to join into this cause, whether it's to come here to administer vaccines or to assist in networking or maybe even continued medical education. How do they get in touch, and how are you going to continue to grow this group?
Well, you can get in touch with me on Facebook Messenger under Anna Lizama, and my email is docannabel@gmail.com. All lowercase DOCANABEL@gmail.com. Now, I wanted to just put a word in there because Dr. Greenidge didn't give me a choice there. But, a chance. But I wanted to let him. I wanted to say that when it comes to the rollout of people who have allergies will have to get their vaccines at major clinics and or the hospital. People who have allergies, who need hospitalization, will need to see an internist to see if they are even able to get the vaccine. So the Ministry of Health has this already in progress. So hopefully, if there are any allergies, they will be taken care of. If there are side effects, they will be taken care of. So I don't think people should be afraid of getting their vaccine.
No, if you have an allergic background, you will be taken. You'll get it in the right setting. Okay. So
And I want to point out that I actually have been away from Belize for 45 years, but I have done multiple mission trips all over Belize, Corozal, Belize.
It's not the same as living there. It's not the same. You gotta live there. You gotta live there. It's not the same.
No, we have done a lot of work in the Belize district and working with Belize.
You gotta live there.
With the Cancer Society, and one of the things that I still work on is getting a cancer registry for Belize.
Listen,
so there are lots of things that we still have to do, and the pandemic is the crisis right now. But there are lots of things that we want to do for Belize down the road.
And I think
Marlene,
the start
I
of
must
this
say,
group,
that we had talked about when we realized that we were not, getting registered quickly enough. I know we have a shortage of time. This whole initiative on bringing these nurses to Belize and pharmacists and what have you to assist in the vaccine rollout, this came from Anna Lizama. Anna Lizama just put one passionate plea on Facebook, and you should have seen the result. I'm coming, Anna. I will phone you, Anna. Anna, I'm going to message you right away. I see people coming like cockroach from Alcana to try to help Anna Lizama. I'm so glad I met got to meet, and I'm working with great Anna Lizama because I had heard about her long ago. All right?
Well, you know, and we're grateful that we got you to be on the show today as well, because we know, and we all have family that's living abroad, that are living abroad, and we know that they never, ever lose touch of what's happening here. In fact, a lot of our online viewers are, in fact, people living in the diaspora who are faithful to all of our programs, so they stay in touch. And what you're now doing is offering them a vehicle to help in the way that they can. So thank you for talking to us, and thank you for letting us know your own personal experience with getting vaccinated and your plans as the Belize Diaspora Foundation initiative. And we do hope that you get even more Belizeans on board to assist you.
Thank Marlene, you. Please put up the mountain.
Your mountain?
Your what?
What's
yes,
your mountain?
My mountain. Mount Shasta, near where I live. My last slide.
In your last slide. Okay.
I hope people don't get on me.
Dr. Greenidge.
When I put up this mountain, I said people are going to get on me for not putting up the Blue Hole. They're going to get on me for not putting up a Maya Ruin. They're going to get on me for not putting up the Barrier Reef. But listen, I wanna defend myself. When I was at Yale and I used to do talks, I used to put up the Blue Hole. I used to put up the Maya ruins. I used to put up the keys, and people look forward to that more than they look forward to my talk. So, in defense of myself, I want to put up this mountain that is near where I live.
Well, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. I've been to Minnesota. I'll tell you, I can proudly say we have a sunny day with 81 degrees outside, and you can be jealous of that one.
Thank you.
All right, both of you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Do take care.
Bye-bye.
Exactly.
It's been a pleasure.
Exactly what we missed from the good doctors there, Dr. Greenidge. It's always nice to see you guys. But we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll be shifting gears. We'll be chit-chatting with reps from Santander. They got a late start to their harvesting, but at the same time, they're projecting somewhere around 750,000 metric tons of sugar cane in this year, 2021. They'll tell us all about it when we come back. Stay with us.
This COVID update was brought to you by Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price, but stay for the service.
Love is a connection that should last forever. This February, NextGen is sharing the love with amazing promo deals for everyone. Reconnect or install with NextGen for free. Sign up for our affordable cable and high-speed internet plans and get 1 month free on your acquired service. But that's not all. New and reconnecting customers can now receive 1 month free MyTV subscription when you sign up with us anytime in February. Some restrictions apply. For more information on our promotions and services, contact us at 0800-222-5388 or via our social media platforms. NextGen, powered by Central TV and Internet.
Es un hecho que puedes obtener servicios ilimitados con Smart. ¿Cansado de que se corte la línea cuando más necesitas estar conectado? Es un hecho que cuando te suscribes al plan de Smart Plus, obtienes llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Y también es un hecho que te puedes suscribir con un grupo de 5 miembros al plan Smart Share y hasta 40 miembros al plan Smart Enterprise para llamadas, textos y datos ilimitados. Smart tiene los verdaderos planes ilimitados. Es un hecho. Sé Smart y vive de forma Smart.
Keeping safe from COVID-19 at your workplace requires 100% teamwork. You can keep earning while keeping yourself and others safe by doing some basic things. Wear a face mask at all times in the workplace unless you are alone in your own private space or office. Wash your hands frequently or utilize alcohol-based hand sanitizers and avoid touching your face. Disinfect surfaces like doorknobs, tables, desks, and handrails regularly. Increase ventilation by opening windows or adjusting air conditioning. Limit visitors and deliveries to the workplace and use appointments where possible. Attend meetings virtually as much as possible, and when not possible, hold meetings in open, well-ventilated spaces or rooms that allow for everyone to be 6 feet apart. Stay at home if you or a family member at home are feeling sick, or if you have been in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID-19. Keeping the workplace safe also requires that employees act responsibly when away from work. Practice social distancing and good hand-washing hygiene. Avoid large gatherings and avoid unnecessary exposure to others. Protecting others means protecting yourself. Together, we can defeat COVID.
In partnership with the British High Commission.
Everyone is at risk of catching COVID-19, so it's important to quickly recognize signs and symptoms of the infection. The most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness or fatigue. Some people may also have sore throat, aches and pains, stuffy nose, or diarrhea. But a few people have also reported pink eye or conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, a rash on skin, or change in the color of fingers or toes. Emergency warning signs that require immediate medical attention are extreme difficulty breathing, severe constant pain or pressure in the chest, becoming confused, unable to talk or move, bluish lips, face, fingers, or toes. For more information, call 0800 MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
Reduce your risk of viral illness like the flu or the coronavirus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water or with an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Cover your nose and mouth when coughing or sneezing with a tissue. Throw away, then wash hands immediately. Avoid close contact with anyone who has the cold or flu-like symptoms. If you become ill, please visit your doctor or nearest health center and share your travel history. A health and wellness message from your Ministry of Health.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We're now shifting gears into our final conversation for the day. It's going to be one with reps of Santander. We got to understand they started their harvesting very, very late. But at the same time, they're projecting some serious numbers in terms of harvesting. In to talk to us about it, we've got Jose Rodriguez, who is the CEO, and also Beverly Burke, who is the Government Affairs and Public Relations Manager at Santander. Guys, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having us.
Good morning. Good to be again in the show.
Oh, definitely. All right, guys. So let's start with it. It's reporting that you guys are starting late with your harvesting. Talk to us about that. What happened? Why the late start?
Well, actually, we have been starting late other years because the volume of the cane was less. At this moment, we normally will be starting every year during the month of January. You know that here we got the rainy season up to the end of December and sometimes in January. So actually we are getting ahead of the normal starting dates, and it's good because we will be harvesting cane with better quality that are coming in the beginning of the season because of the weather conditions and the low temperatures.
With respect to the amount that you guys are saying that you suspect that you'll be harvesting, tell us about that. 750,000 metric tons of sugar within the time span that you've got for 2021. Is this a very high number or intermediate? Where are we there?
Well, it has been growing every year. We started with 136,000 in 2016 with the first trial season of the life of the company. Mm-hmm. We have been planting more area and increasing the volume. We have reached to a point of good volumes. 750,000 is a volume that is considered a high volume, but we still have to grow until at least 1 million tons a year. It's something that the operation needs to be sustainable over the years, especially during the low prices situation.
We know Santander is a very reputable company across the world, and in terms of the quality that you're getting from our country, can you distinguish in terms of the quality?
Well, the quality depends a lot about how well you do things in the field, and then in the factory, how efficient you convert and how quickly you convert the sugarcane uses to the grains of sugar. Because in the process of making the sugar, after you cut the cane, you lose half a pound per ton of sugar per hour. So it's a race against the time, and the quality is a quality that we are very, very competitive worldwide. We have been getting better on the process. Our labor force has been getting very, very used to the process. We have had some years of experience now, and we're happy to be with a very good quality product in the market.
Just let me add to that, John. I know you start off your question by saying that Santander is a reputable company throughout the world. I like that you just showed my logo and my company's registration on your screen just now, because I want to make the distinction here that Santander Sugar Group is not affiliated any at all with the Santander Financial Group. So that's the first thing that we really do need to get the public to understand, that the financial giant out there, it's not the sugar group. Okay, so basically what we have been doing really is, as Jose said, we've been growing in Belize. Each year, as we make the projections, we aim to accomplish that. And I have to say that this is our 6th year of harvesting, and it's been going pretty good, besides the many challenges, because the challenges are there. And in the end, we celebrate the end of each harvest because we know that we have done our very best. We have worked tediously to combat the challenges and to ensure that we grow in the bounds and leaps that we project. And this year for us too, we're looking for it to be another record year. We set our targets for a 16% increase. And I am extremely confident that we're going to accomplish that. And with the labor force that we have, Belizeans are becoming more and more easier to adopt to the way we operate. Because in the end, it's really to ensure that we accomplish what we set out to do.
Now, let's talk about what you're able to do with your sugar. Recently, there was a settlement made with St. Kitts about access to the Caribbean markets. We know this has been a pressing issue for the industry. Tell me about the involvement of Santander in this process and what it means that that first settlement agreement has been made.
Well, we have been not opening the market, but accessing the market with more sugar. The Belize sugar domestic market should be the Caribbean. It's a natural market that we should sell to. We have been working together with BSI and the government to be able to really make this market a market for the Caribbean producers, because everybody else in the world protects their market, and there's no reason why we here in the Caribbean don't do it. There have been some problems in how other sugar from Guatemala, Colombia, or Brazil are coming into the market, and we certainly are following those unfair importations. So we are working together as an industry to be able to secure the Caribbean market and be able to protect all the investments and all the work opportunities that the industry creates in the Caribbean.
So where are you currently exporting?
We mainly the majority of the sugar in the country goes to European markets, and we are, like I said, opening more and more volume to the Caribbean. I can tell you that in our case, at least, we sell 15 to 20% to the Caribbean and 80% to the European market.
And I understand that there are some concerns in looking at how Brexit will impact your access to those European markets.
Yeah, like we mentioned the other day, the decision of UK to get out of the European Union has been difficult for not only for sugar, but for all the products that have a certain advantages on entering the European markets. Brexit is still not defined completely, but at the moment they are importing sugar from other countries without any tariffs or any taxes, and considering that our sugar, and I mean Belize sugar, is going to the UK for the past 2 or 3 years, we have been very worried about this importation of sugar over there because they are demanding less sugar from us.
And so what is the plan that you have in place? Are you lobbying? What's the process now?
Well, we have to, the decision is already taken for this year, but there is another opportunity for next year to be able to make all the lobbying possible, working together with the government and the government of UK to be able to convince them to stop importing the sugar free of tariff from other countries that have their own domestic market, and that really they are dumping the sugar to those markets at a lower price. So we have time for next year. This year it's already taken the decision. So we are searching for other markets in the European Union, and hopefully the situation in the world for sugar this year has been increasing the consumption over the past months, because the COVID situation in the countries is getting down slowly, and the production worldwide is not so good, especially in Europe. They have been struggling with some diseases in the sugar beet because they produce sugar from the sugar beet, and this is helping us a little bit to find other buyers in Europe.
You continue to grow in the country. 750 metric tons, that's a lot, from 165 or 160 when you started about 6 years ago. How is this going to affect your growth, especially with the whole Brexit situation and the uneasiness of what's going on in Europe? How is this going to affect your growth, especially being that that's the route you want to go?
Well, it's something that it's a challenge that we have to pass, and we have to be creative on finding new ways to sell, new markets. We need to grow in the Caribbean market, and we need to keep fighting over the markets that we can access. Mm-hmm. Mexico could be another opportunity if the governments can work together on having some preferences to the Belizean sugar. So we have to get creative and still going forward to the growth that we are planning. Yeah. We need to get creative to get another markets.
20%.
Yeah, another consideration, John, is actually doing some value added. We export raw sugar to the European market, mm-hmm. and direct consumption sugar to the Caribbean. There still exists the possibility of selling more direct consumption sugars, mm-hmm. as well as we continue to explore the possibility of our local market as well. It's no secret that we are not selling in Belize, and that's very important to us. I know, given our population, we have looked at what we consume here in Belize. Mm-hmm. We do find it very important that at least you guys get to experience the real sweetness of what we make. So the exploration of that continues, but I also feel very strongly that if CARICOM can get their decisions in place at quoted, you will find that Belize will be in a better position producing more direct consumption sugars that we can then export to our own region. So that, looking also at our neighboring countries, we should be able then to have sugar on the shelves in our very near region. So those are some of the things that we are working on. We will continue to grow. We have to take the factory to its maximum capacity, mm-hmm. which is we are able to then do up to 1 million metric tons of sugar cane, and then we actually then hit the full capacity of the existing factory. We are also prepared to hit that target, and we build some more, right, Jose, where we can then expand even more. I see great growth in the future of the company, and we continue to work to ensure that it becomes exactly what we need it to be. This dream started just about, I met Jose in 2008 when he first came to scope out Belize. Mm-hmm. And he started putting stuff in the ground just about 2012. And from then to where we are today, our 6th harvest, I have to say that we continue to grow in bungs and leaps, and there should be nothing, and I mean nothing, that stops us from accomplishing what these penned goals are. So John, you'll be hearing much more from us as we continue to grow, but for now, the real work is to secure the necessary markets and also anticipating that world market prices will continue to inch up. So those are the main 2 factors that I would want to say, well, 3 factors that impacts us, and that's access to market, world prices, and of course, the our beautiful and sometimes unpredictable weather conditions here in Belize. So, but we find innovative ways to deal with the concerns and issues that we have, and we have a forward outlook. Mm-hmm. So I think that is what is super for us. And Santander being Santander, we look at it no other way except there are issues that we must combat, and we keep on doing that. We get very innovative and we focus on our efficiencies, and that's the way we move forward.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted to ask about that because we know we know from the industry in the north how much weather-related events can impact them. They face droughts. We have had flooding this year. What have been the weather-related factors for you guys and where you're situated, and how have you been mitigating that?
Okay, we are a little bit more concerned about the weather than in the north because we have a much more rain that comes during the year. Our slopes are very, very low, but we have been working since the beginning in the infrastructure necessary to be able to work with the weather. And we have developed the systems to be able to work. The team has been learning on how to harvest under these conditions. We have been implemented small details, but at the end are details that are helping us. Like I mentioned, our labor force is getting better and better. We have been able to be working together for some time now, and everybody is doing their best effort. And all what we have done is being able because of the people that makes the team, the Santander team, also because God has been blessing us every day, and without this we wouldn't be able to be on the place we are at this moment. We also have to thank you, our providers, and also the cane farmers. The cane farmers are a very important part of the production. The growing has been good over the years, and more cane growers are coming to the table to negotiate and to be able to plant more cane. It has been it's another opportunity for the farmers to have another crop that they in this part of the country wasn't available before. So we're very thankful for that.
All right, and Bev, exactly where I wanted to go with respect to the farmers. So you guys are growing, and this year expecting to really expand with respect to harvesting. Bev, what's the relationship between Santander and its farmers?
I want to think that we have an excellent relationship. Each year, we see our independent farmers growing, and we get questions almost on a daily basis as to how can we be a part of this? What do we need to do? We have different programs to encourage the entry of farmers who maybe are shifting from a particular crop that they used to grow, for example, corn, and now getting into sugar production. We look at those close to us. It will be the number one cost-cutting measure, their proximity. As you know, the cost of transportation is still something to be reckoned with, but we encourage them to look at the potential and the possibility of being a part of our sugar growth. New farmers coming in at this point is significant. Our structure was such that we put in the necessary fields to get us started, but definitely have an open relationship with the public who wants to come in and be a part of this all. Coupled with that, John, it's not just about sugar for us. What we do with our waste is we also create energy, and we also have an aggressive growth path to continue to push electricity to the grid. And we also put forth that idea because for us, as we grow sugar and as we get more participation, this also then brings a homegrown product that is something that we use. Each and every person in this country utilizes energy on a daily basis. So what we try to do is tie it all together in one handsome package that will then allow people having land, allow farmers then to utilize their land and actually to see where their land can work for them in a profitable manner.
Yeah.
It helps us as a company to grow. And by us growing and expanding on our external markets, it's also helping us to grow in our local market. And I'm certain it's building relationships all around that will then allow Santander and Belize to have this harmonious relationship.
What's the makeup of your crop? How much of it is from your own farms versus independent farms?
We produce 55% of the sugar that we process, and we are buying from farmers either by renting the farm or leasing the farm or buying the sugarcane directly from the producers, and they form 45% of the total production.
Wow. Now that's in terms. I'm trying to wrap my mind around leasing the farms. Would farmers really go that route of leasing their farms so that Santander can utilize that area to grow the crop and still be paid for it?
Yes, they have looked at that greatly because, John, as you are familiar with, there are some landowners in Belize. Some of them really don't have the capital to invest. So leasing the land is one way for them to go, where we get to utilize that land and they get paid for the fact that they own the land. So that's one scenario. The other scenario can be where they own the land, they want to participate, and we create the partnership where some inputs are from us, some inputs are from them, where they can then probably work the farming aspect. We assist with the technology side. And then the other scenario is that they come in 100%, they do their own farming, of course, with our guidance, because we are very specific in terms of how we want things done. It's very crucial that we have batch tracing, and the quality is very important to us. So they do have to adhere to some very strict farming practices. But that scenario can be that they do 100% and we buy the cane from them. And so we've tried to find ways in which we can work with each and every farmer who wants to come in, who wants to be a part of this, and we then try to create the model for them to be able to do so.
Wow. John, the thing is that the farmers, it depends, because every farmer has a different situation. Some farmers, they like to work on their farm. Some others they have other businesses. Some depends on the situation of each and everyone. What we try to do is to get involved with what they want to do. We want to analyze their economics in the crop, because we want to make a deal with them that will be a win-win situation. We don't want them to plant some cane, and then if they are too far away in the low price situation, they will be struggling to be able to pay their bills. So we try to make that analysis with them together, so we can evaluate each and a single situation for their case. So it depends on what they want to do.
All right. Well, it sounds like fair to all concerns, but in wrapping up, 750,000 metric tons this year, 2021, and growing. Any final words, guys?
Well, like I said before, we are thankful for all the people that have been involved in the operation. We're very happy to be in the country. I have been living here for 10 years now, and we are here living in Belmopan area, and we are working every day to make a better society and contribute to the country. As the Prime Minister said, we want to pump up the economy so all Belizeans can benefit from the growth of the country and the development of the economy. We all need to create job opportunities for everybody, and we have to work together. We want to thank you, your program, Marlene, John. We're happy to be here, and count with us with anything that we can help.
All right.
We appreciate it.
I do want to say thank you guys very much for always responding to my my urgent calls. We usually come to you at our start and at the end of our season. The seasons are very short. We only run for about 140 days, more or less. And it's constant work. I want to say publicly that working through the different ministries that do impact our operations, I want to say publicly also, thanks to them too, for making it possible for us to keep on doing what we do here. It is of great significance, and by no means would I ever appreciate that being discounted. So for me, it is, I am greatly appreciative of the fact that I can come to you guys and share with you the positives. I think we, as a people, we tend to get overly concerned about certain issues, but for me, at the end of the day, I am very results driven, and we want to know that we can come back to you and say, you know what, we projected 750 metric tons this year and we've hit our goal. This is how we've done it, and we remain very open. So I also want this to be that relationship where you guys can call on us and we remain very receptive for that type of thing, and know that I will come back knocking, and I do appreciate all that you guys do for us to be able to get our story out there.
All right,
Thank
Bev,
you guys very
Bev, Jose, thank you guys so very much. And here's to wishing you best of luck and best of success. We're about to take our
Thank you very
final
much.
break, and
Thank you.
when we come back, we'll be wrapping things up. Stay with us.
If we are only as strong as our families, businesses, institutions, and the communities that surround us, then by giving businesses the power to grow, entrepreneurs the ability to expand, and by giving our families the right to own something, the Belize Bank gives you the power to build a nation, our nation. We are stronger together. The Belize Bank. Our country. Your bank.
Everyone is at risk of catching COVID-19, so it's important to quickly recognize signs and symptoms of the infection. The most common symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness or fatigue. Some people may also have sore throat, aches and pains, stuffy nose, or diarrhea. But a few people have also reported pink eye or conjunctivitis, headache, loss of taste or smell, a rash on skin, or change in the color of fingers or toes. Emergency warning signs that require immediate medical attention are extreme difficulty breathing, severe constant pain or pressure in the chest, becoming confused, unable to talk or move, bluish lips, face, fingers, or toes. For more information, call 0800 MOH-CARE. Help keep Belize safe.
It's a fact that you can access unlimited services with Smart. Tired of being measured or cut off when you need to be connected? It's a fact that when you sign up for Smart's Plus plan, you get unlimited talk, text, and unlimited data. And it's a fact that you can sign up with your group of up to 5 members for Smart's Share plans and up to 40 members for Smart's Enterprise plans for unlimited talk, text, and data. Smart has the true unlimited plans. That's a fact. Be smart and live smart.
And we're back.
Just like that, we have come to the end of our show. We're so thankful to have had gotten you with us this morning. We kicked things off this morning with a conversation with Dr. Egbert Greenwich and Dr. Anna Lezama, both from the Belize diaspora, Belize Diaspora Foundation, they're trying to get things rolled out in terms of vaccines and helping with that throughout the country with respect to COVID-19. So we're so thankful to have gotten you guys in this morning.
And if you know people in the diaspora, if you who are watching right now live outside of Belize, they are recruiting people to join onto the cause. It is an opportunity for you to work along with others to see how you can give back to the country. We know the heart is still in Belize, even if you're physically somewhere else. And I know we hear very often of people who want to help. Well, they're formalizing their efforts now. They're starting off with healthcare professionals, and there are a lot of accomplished Belizeans who are living outside of the country who I know would love to get involved. So just find Ana Lezama on Facebook and you can follow up from there.
Definitely. So once again, thank you guys so very much for joining us. We also want to say a big thank you to Santander for joining us this morning in terms of their projection, conversation on their projection of the 750,000 metric tons of sugar cane that they're projecting to harvest this year. So thank you guys so very much for that information. And again, thank you for always starting your morning right with us. If you've got any questions, any concerns, drop us a line at oye@channel5belize.com.
You can also drop me a line at marlene_oye@channel5belize.com. Find us on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ.
You could find us on Instagram at OYEBelize.
And remember to tune in tomorrow morning at 6:30.
When you open your eyes,
to start your morning right.
As per usual, keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open. We'll see you soon. Enjoy your day, please.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by the Belize Bank. Our country, your bank.